a better approach that will take into account everything you've got going on in your life, not just the gym. Because yeah, SMART will work if you, let's say you want to do squat, whatever. Yeah, you can apply a SMART goal, but this is going to account for your entire life. Okay, so our approach would be a goal hierarchy. So it involves a superordinate, an intermediate, and a subordinate goal. So stay with me, guys. We'll go through an example. I've got one here. So as described by Hockley et al, or Hockley, how do you pronounce that, Tom? Looks German.
Hocker, I don't know.
Hocker.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, right. So that guy et al, he said a goal hierarchy is essentially a web of multiple goals with 3 different levels. So I'm going to go for an example here, guys. Superordinate is big picture stuff. So in the example, as proposed by Big H et al, as we call him, there's a little graph here I've got. Obviously, you won't be able to see this, but I can. A superordinate goal, at the very top of that would be something like ideal self. So by ideal self, what that means is, what do you want to be? Who do you want to be in terms of all those things like, romantically, professionally, physically, mentally? Below that as well, they've put be healthy. Of course, you want to be healthy in all these areas in life. Most people, if you've got a positive outlook on life, you want to be healthy in terms of your romance, your work, your gym, whatever, all that stuff. So that would be your superordinate goals. That's a big picture of where you want to be. We're then going to go down this little fucking diagram of the goal hierarchy to intermediate goals. And these are going to be things that will allow you to be healthy. And what they've got on this chart here is be in good physical shape, get enough sleep, avoid stress, eat a healthy diet. Now, obviously at this point, it's quite vague. That doesn't really offer you much in terms of what to do to get there, but it gives you an idea. You've got things to tackle that will help you support your overall superordinate goal of being healthy and being your ideal self. If we then go down to subordinate goals, this is where we get a little bit more specific and we start tackling these individual intermediate goals. So in the example they've given here, Big H, they've gone underneath be in good physical shape on intermediate. Their subordinate goals for that would be exercise once a week, do 40 push-ups Wednesday afternoon, go to yoga Thursday at 4 p.m. So they will now support be in good physical shape. Then obviously they go along, do the same for get enough sleep, avoid stress, eat a healthy diet. However, the key for this is that there's going to be a bit of crossover. Okay, they're all connected. Because if you think about it now, you might have already clocked on. By exercising once a week, that's not only going to help you get in good physical shape, but we know daily exercise, can help with sleep quality. It can help you with stress, hunger. It can affect those hormones. So by tackling exercise once a week, he thinks he's tackling the intermediate goal, but actually he's attacking all of them because they're connected. And because you've got this goal hierarchy laid out, you can actually see where they start to connect. You can see where the things are crossing over. And you can see even if things are sort of getting each other's way. Okay? So hopefully that's all making sense. Basically, we can see the goal more clearly. We can see what we're tackling, how we're tackling it, how they're connecting, and how they're getting apart.
What people need to understand is different people require different approaches.
Mm-hmm, sure.
So, even though I just spent ages just taking the piss out of the, SMART goals, for someone, a SMART goal might work,
Mm-hmm.
Then we might have I'm not going to kind of spoil. In fact, no, you're going to have to edit this out because otherwise I'm going to start spoiling the future of this topic. Because I'm sort of starting to go about approach and avoidance goals and stuff.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I'll jump in because Tom's about to fucking go rogue.
Yeah. Actually, can I just quickly interject and just go back to the SMART goal thing, because I feel like I've ripped into it, but I've not really given my reason as to why.
I actually feel like you actually love SMART goals. I actually feel like you're one of these PTs who love SMART goals.
Which is part of my SMART goal.
Right, hang on.
I'm trying to enjoy them.
Have you got a Fern on a SMART goal? One of our listeners called Fern. She's one of your clients. Is she currently on a SMART goal, Tom?
Actually, no. We actually have a process-driven goal. She just doesn't know it yet.
Oh, she doesn't know it. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. See?
You
Mind
crafty
games.
little fucker.
I know.
Yeah. Well, she'll know now, won't she? She listens to the podcast.
Do you want to hear the twist, though? It's a process-driven goal that is leading into an outcome goal.
Oh, hello.
I know. It's almost like the spoiler, the end credits scene at a shit Marvel film.
I know, right?
But going back to SMART goals, SMART goals are just way too narrow, and I don't think they take into account ups and downs someone can have in regards to if they're, training isn't linear. Success isn't linear, weight loss isn't linear. So, okay, what about if you don't make it within the time frame that your trainer has made you write down on a piece of paper? What then? What if suddenly, and the thing is, your fitness goals don't have to be linear either. Your exercise modality might completely change. What if suddenly you've branched off from this person's program and they've gone on to something like CrossFit, it's no longer part of, well, this isn't relevant. You know, how am I supposed to measure your CrossFit compared to me tracking your bench press and your squat, etc.? I know I'm being super, like, definitive here in like what I'm actually like alluding to with these SMART goals, but like, do you see what I mean? It's like it doesn't really track the ups or downs.
Yeah.
So I've just spoken about like how on my social media recently I've spoken about behaviour change, the stages of changes, and how you can relapse and you can come in and out of it, and it's actually to be expected. With a SMART goal, straight away it's like, well, no, if you've been given a narrow path of no, you need to be able to do this within this time frame, well, doesn't take into account, well, what about when you're coming from a relapse? And the time frame might have to shift back and forth a little bit. And it can be too hyper specific as well. Focus on that one thing.
The paper did say that the positive effects were observed for both non-specific and specific, but the effect size was larger for non-specific, which makes sense because if you make things too specific, it's more stressful, isn't it?
Exactly that. So it might be that you might be fucking up on a particular, let's say that the trainers somehow wiggle them into, oh yeah, we want you to be able to do this amount of weight in this amount of time for this particular exercise. Okay, what if they're not quite making that weight, but they're making progress in other places? They're actually going to the gym more, they're actually enjoying the gym, even if the weight isn't going up on the bar, etc. Once again, I know I'm being super like specific with what I'm talking about. Oh, it's part of the SMART goal actually, you know. But do you see what I mean? It could be too narrow of a focus, and too much of a focus on progress having to be linear. Yeah,
and this is why this hierarchy system tends to be quite effective for those who take the time doing it, because it isn't linear at all. It's fucking, if you look at the web of stuff, it can be quite chaotic in a way, but it's not, because it's just allowing you to live life how life's supposed to be lived, in chaos essentially, because there's loads of stuff going on.
But there are all different models you can kind of use to kind of motivate people or get them to, you know, reach a long-term goal, etc., or stick to a idea or a program. You know, and when sports psychology, like, there's this whole thing about how you can use different approaches for certain people depending on, you know, what is going on in their current life or what their actual goal is or where they currently are.
Yeah, maybe they need a SMART goal. Maybe they need a hyper-focused approach because their mind's all over the place. They need something that's going to just keep them focused on one thing for the next 6 months, as opposed to a hierarchy of carnage when their mind is already carnage.
Like whether an athlete is in season or out of season, and the process can change depending on the season. Like, it's a complicated subject, but it's really cool to look into.
If you are filling out a goal, though, regardless if it's this hierarchy system or whatever other system we've been talking about, I think we all agree that you should focus on approach goals versus avoidance goals. Now, the easy example I can give you this would be nutritionally. So if I say, if one of my goals is to, you know, I want to have a healthier diet, whatever you want to call it. If I decide, okay, my approach goal would be, I'm going to eat one more portion of fruit and veg every day this week. Okay, that'd be my approach goal. That'd be an approach goal. I'm trying to approach something to get me to healthy nutrition. An avoidance goal would be, I am going to stop eating carbohydrates every day this week, or I'm going to cut out sugar for the next 2 weeks. That's an avoidance goal because you're avoiding things. This tends to be the least effective when it comes to goals, because you're cutting things out and you're essentially creating the common thing of the big red button. Everyone knows about the big red button. You want to push it. So if you start trying to avoid things like sugar or carbs, whatever, anything in nutrition or anything in life, it becomes that big red button. So naturally, you're going to want to do it, and it makes it very harder to maintain that goal. Well, if you do an approach goal, giving yourself something to do, instead of eat more fruit and veg, I want to go for a walk every evening this week or something like that, you're more likely to adhere to it, and you're more likely to be successful. And that's something we're finding, not only thing I found anecdotally, but also from the data, that seems to be the most effective. And I think you'd probably agree, Tom, wouldn't you?
Yeah, for sure. Joe, there was actually a paper on this a couple of years ago. It was actually to do with New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, okay.
So with New Year's resolutions, like some people had like, exactly that. Oh, I'm going to stop smoking, or I'm going to stop sticking my dick in a neighbour's car exhaust pipe, stuff like that.
Jesus Christ.
And there was like approach things. So like, I'm going to start walking, or I'm going to join the gym, or I'm going to start eating more fruit. Trying to sneakily get them to avoid things by actually using an approach orientated goal. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like a magic trick. Sneaky.
Sneaky.
Like a green beret.
Like a green beret.
In Vietnam.